he moved to another big group, which is LVMH. Everybody knows LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. There, he was primarily responsible for the watches and jewelry division. He was head for India. He was the managing director. Subsequently, he went to China. Same tag on. Because LVMH is a big group, he got an assignment in travel retail, which is duty-free retail. And duty-free retail, you know, thousands of SKUs, millions of consumers. So there he realized the potential of data and how data can be used. And he quit the cushy job and started his own consultancy services company. He's been doing very well. And I've been pestering him, let's do something in jewelry. We made a beginning working with few jewelers in the retail domain. This, because he works across industry sectors, the focus has been little less because it's always project based. And the idea in coming, and we have been used to talking to walls, but at least we have 3 people here, so that's also a good thing. So that's about Manishi. His name of his company is VoiceBack Analytics. And because I was earlier with the watch industry and we have worked together. So talking about the data analytics, I'm sure you know about Tesco. Tesco, the supermarket chain. And basically it's a British chain. So in the 90s, Tesco was not number 1. It was number 2. So they realized that grocery is such a business that consumers need to buy grocery on a daily basis. So how to grow business? There are 2 ways. Acquire new customers and make the existing consumers buy more and more frequently. So they hired consultant, husband and wife team. Clive Humby is the name of the person. So what he did was, he was a mathematician. He is a mathematician. And he's also known as father of data analytics. So what they did was, they took a assignment from Tesco and worked on it for 3 months. They collected humongous data. And that's when, for the first time, they used big data, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. They used big data. So and they made a presentation to Tesco guys. They said, oh my God, you know about my customers in 3 months, and it is even after 30 years, I don't know so much about my customers. That's how the data took off. Subsequently, Tesco acquired Clive Humby's company, and it is still one of the leading names. So it is owned by 100% by Tesco. So that was the time, for the first time, Clive said data is the new oil. We are saying data is the new gold. So what is the similarity? So gold, data, and oil, all 3 are very precious. And all 3 by themselves are of no use. They need to be refined, they need to be collated, and there are so many things. If you see, earlier economy was built on oil. If you see the big companies of yesteryears, Saudi Aramco, ONGC in India, Reliance, all built their fortunes on the basis of the oil. Mukesh Ambani today has built an empire on the base of data. So that is the connection why we are saying data is the new gold. We would like jewelers to use their data because most of their data is useless unless, and they need help. You can't do everything on your own. So let's invite Manishi, and he will run you through his presentation. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. No, morning. Still morning. Can I have the presentation? So now, I'll, like Anil Bhai introduced, I mean, I have been operating retail companies. I have a very strong operating background, and post which we have started a company of our own. Now, a lot of things, uh, everybody talks about data. Everybody, there is a general feeling that it is something which big companies are using. He gave an example of Tesco. Everybody gives Facebook is doing that. You know. Uh, so what we have tried to do is just pull out few cases or instances of how it is being used in a concurrent way. Some of the examples which I am showing out here is not about what Tesco is doing or what Walmart is doing. We are talking about things which are being done by very very real companies in our neighborhood. Uh, we ourselves have been doing some work with jewelry retail in India. We work with a lot of chains which are 10 store, 5 store, 3 store wide chain, and therefore some of the examples being talked out here are real life examples of what is happening in India. So it's not so much about imagining things, or it is not so much for a big guy doing it. Amazon can do, Flipkart can do, Netflix can do. Why do we need data analytics? This is a big survey which was done, which said that a lot of your customers will walk away. Loyal customers will walk away with as few as 3 bad experiences. So you treat them badly, either give them a wrong price or a wrong communication, they can just turn off from you. So on the customer experience side, data can do a lot of work. The second thing which is important is on the automation side. So there is a lot of things which is grunt work. You could see in your offices, people are typing, filing, reconciliations in your account. There could be 50 accountants sitting and just comparing things, GST reconciliation. So a lot of these processes are very repetitive. They are very simple. They are not rocket science, but it still requires somebody to come to office, download something from here. He will put into another Excel sheet, do some VLOOKUP, do this, do that. And then he will pull out a report, come back, give you. And you will say, can you change the date? The guy will go back, come back after 6 hours after doing it. So a larger part of benefits which are heavy can be done is that it is possible today to automate processes. So downloading data from one file, doing something, making a graph out of it, sending it automatically to all your store managers. Those kind of things are today possible. Now, there are 3 trends which are clearly happening, which is reshaping the retail experience. One being the online story. So, we do keep on talking about omni-channel, omni-retail. Everybody has got some kind of a website somewhere running, and it's this customer is the same customer. You could have the same guy walking into your physical store, the same guy goes to your web shop, interacts. I think almost everyone is doing some bit of work on Facebook, Google. So people are spending money, people are spending it around your customer, and that's one important part of it. The second thing which is on the marketing side, a lot is today possible. On the creative side, a lot of today is possible. Almost all the photographs which you see in my presentation are not have been done by AI. So on the marketing side, ideation side, writing punchlines, writing Instagram posts, a lot of work, again, a lot of grunt work, translating into languages, lot of things which required a lot of effort from your agencies can be done very easily today. And improving the customer experience, like I said, that the larger part of it is that if you can somehow improve customer's journey when he's buying, when he's, you are servicing, he comes back to you for a piece which he had bought, he wants some change. So, track and trace mechanism, how can you identify he was your customer, how can you identify what did he buy, when did he buy, what can you do, those kind of things. Generally, people when surveyed say what all can be done today on technology. 38%, these are the number of business leaders, CEOs, they are saying, boosting creativity and innovation. And like I said, they're designing, a lot of initial designs are now happening using algorithms. Initial advertising creatives are happening using algorithms. Enhancing sales and marketing effectiveness is, how do you write your Instagram post? How do you like your LinkedIn posts? If you have written a post, how do you translate it into 5 languages? You could have a store in Maharashtra, therefore you want something in a local language, and you could want something in Gujarati at the same time. Now those kind of things can be very effectively done. Improving operational efficiencies, you have inventory in store, especially in jewelry industry, what all pieces are not being sold, are being sold, how much, money comes in, there are issues of, how do you reconcile your sales with money. So operational efficiency, how your store operates. A lot of, we ourselves are doing a lot of work on this part in jewelers in India. Growing revenue again, when a customer comes in, what did he buy last time? Can you predict when will the customer come back? There are customers, especially in jewelry, which have a cyclicity. People do come back every Dhanteras. So you can identify people who come every Diwali, who come every same day because there is an anniversary, or a birthday happening. So you could identify those kind of events. You could find customers who were your regular customers, suddenly they have stopped coming. And you can start, figuring out a marketing plan around them. Improving customer experiences, again, people come into your store looking for a product. They want a particular price range, they want a particular design. Maybe you don't have the entire range at the counter. You don't have what he's wanting to buy. So all those things, there are enough and more ways to do them. Launching new products and services, like I said, the entire ideation part is very, very easy. If you want to figure out names for new products, you can go to a ChatGPT and generate names. And same expanding to new markets or segments. If you have a customer base, let's say in Mumbai, you want to find similar kind of customers in Delhi. Again, there are ways and means. So these are few examples how different companies are using retail, are using these technologies. And again, a bit of detailed use cases, on the website side, there is a lot of work which is being done. Product search and discovery. When customer logs into a website, you can pull out his past record. Basis his past record, you can recommend products to him. Intelligent signages for big retail stores. There are signages which actually tell you that if you purchase product A, it will tell you where the product B could be kept. If you walk into a departmental store, which is a big departmental store, you are looking for a brand, you can type that brand and the map will show you where to go. So there's a lot of work which is happening on intelligent signage, in-store navigation. Customer service is being automated in terms of, having help desks. So if a customer writes an email, if it's a big velocity store, you have systems and softwares which can reply to those emails, handle them. Virtual fitting rooms, try-ons, this has been done. I have not seen, I'm sure jewelers are doing, but I'm not seeing. You have a lot of examples on eyewear and all that. You could do a virtual try-on and see how a piece of accessory will look on you in your photograph. Predictive shipping is again the examples of predictive shipping. If you would have noticed Amazon, Flipkart ads wherein they tell you that they can deliver something in 2 hours or 6 hours. Effectively, what is happening is that they know what kind of demand will come from a locality. So they know what kind of demand comes from Powai between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Basis that demand, a truck leaves their warehouse. When the truck leaves the warehouse, they start selling the product on the website. By the time truck reaches Powai, they have sold all those goods and it reaches to you in 2 hours. So they are essentially predicting what kind of sales will come and then processing it. On marketing, reward programs is again, a lot of people do reward programs by giving some kind of loyalty points or some kind of discounts or some kind of benefit to the customer. However, a larger part of benefit of reward program is that you can track the usage of a customer. You can exactly see which customer is coming when does he buy. If you have a good loyalty database, you can even to the extent of forecasting that whether this customer will come in the month of October or not, you can actually do that and with fairly high accuracy. And again, this kind of things we have done for jewelers in India, that we are able to give them a list of people who will come and shop with them next month, and a large part of them actually come and shop. Personalized recommendations again for bigger businesses. If you know what customer typically buys, you can tell him a very specific either discount or an offer. These personalized recommendations are equivalent to what you see on an Amazon Flipkart ad. When you buy something, it tells you that you may want to have these products also. So these kind of systems again have been done on physical retail, wherein the moment store recognizes that a customer is there, it can go back, check the past purchase behavior and suggest products to it. Lead generation, SEO, and social media analytics are all part of feeds which whatever you are doing on Facebook, Google, Instagram, whatever data they generate, you can analyze that, look into it along with your sales data to get benefits. Inventory and operation is again a very, very big thing. A lot of people struggle with it. You have stores, if you carefully look, there would be 15, 20%, 25% of inventory which has never been sold over the past 1 year, 2 year. There would be designs which just don't get sold and they are sitting on the inventory, not giving the return. On the manufacturing side, you need to forecast. When you are doing a new design, you need to forecast how much orders will I be able to pick out of it. And now a lot of things are happening on inventory side. There are automated systems again we are implementing in India, wherein a computer program says how much product should be manufactured, how much product should be shipped from which warehouse to which store, and it does it every day. So rather than a 5-people team doing it manually, committing mistakes, there is an automated program which runs up, gets up every day in the morning, looks into data, throws a report, and is consumed. Merchandise display is another, people who run in retail. The space is your largest, most constrained resource. There are good spaces in the store, and therefore whatever you display in a good store, in good places in a store is very, very important. So over time, stores reach a point that what you are showing to the customer is something which doesn't get sold, and what does get sold is hidden somewhere else in the store. So there are now systems which can evaluate, how much percentage of your inventory is kept at the right place and how much inventory is kept at the wrong place. On the pricing and payment, I think cashier checkouts are visible almost everywhere. Fraud and error detection is again, a very powerful thing. Because these systems have a capability of continuously monitoring, we have built systems which the moment a transaction happens which is out of the norm, suddenly there is a very high discount in a transaction, suddenly sales value drops. You are expecting it's a Monday, you are expecting an X amount of sales, suddenly sales value drops. So there are systems which quickly identify aberration, that something different has happened, it was not expected to behave that way, and it will send a direct escalation to the store owner or business owner that something seems to be wrong. Either your inventory is, you expect a particular item or a particular design to give you a particular percentage of sales. One fine day it didn't happen. Now that could be because your competition dropped the price, that could be because your the inventory was not there, that could be because your price is wrong. Multiple reasons, but these kind of systems are able to identify any incorrect event and escalate it to you. Dynamic pricing is again, businesses which have evolved have figured out ways. Especially dynamic pricing we see on an airline pretty frequently, hotels pretty frequently. There are retail stores which are now doing, a dynamic pricing or a dynamic discounting, either ways. But looking at continuous trends, we have systems, or at least in some places, wherein we monitor what is happening. In things like cell phones, actually, this is quite critical. In iPhone kind of a situation, suddenly price drops on an Amazon, and if your competition has dropped the price, you need to figure out quickly that a price drop has happened on an Amazon and then correct it. So dynamic pricing is used quite a lot in real-time operational scenarios. Now, how do you know these are the kind of things which can be done, is being done? A big question on an operational side to all of us is that, okay, fine, sounds all good and nice. Yes, we want to do. How does it happen? How will it happen eventually? I mean, essentially, there are three big blocks, and almost all organizations go through this journey. Uh, it's not realistic to expect that you would be able to achieve, what an Amazon is doing in 1 year. But once you start on this journey, you slowly build up. I mean, we have seen customers starting from very simple one-page report to running 100 pages report today. Uh, I think the first step and the core step is integration from data sources. So what happens in a real business is that you could have more than one ERP running. Your sales data would be in one system, your HR data could be in another system, your finance data could be in a third system, and there is a need to combine all of them together to see. If you want to know, normally customer also CRM sometimes is different, CRM is different, people is different, operational sales data is different, and your finance is clearly different. So one of the larger part of the issue and the larger part of the problem is to bring all these data feeds together into one place. Clouds or cloud analytics, cloud computing is a good way to do this, but this is usually the first step is to integrate, bring everything together. The moment you have brought everything together, you start the process of learning. Learning means the moment you can see data next to each other, you will be able to see certain patterns, certain cohorts, certain silos. If you have your discount data with your sales data, you will be able to find customers who are typically buying discounted stuff. I mean, they are customers who prefer a promotional stuff. When you have, your HR data next to your sales data, you can probably find store staff who are giving more discount. There are some staff who tend to fight for the discount. They will use their selling skills, and then there are some staff who make an easy way out and quickly give a discount and close the sale. So you can figure out, once you put things together, you will be able to figure out, are there staff who sell higher end product? You would find some staff who will always sell close sales which are much higher than average, and you will find some staff which is doing just about bare minimum trying to close the sale. So the moment you have put the data together, your next step is identifying these patterns, cohort silos. And then the third part, which is usually a lot more difficult, is to leverage that. Okay, fine, I have brought the data together. I am able to see some insights out of it. I understand my inventory is high at this place. I understand my people are not delivering. How do I rectify it? Now what do I do? Leverage is the third part of the problem, wherein you predict, plan, maximize. Essentially looking at the problem, and this leverage as a step requires a lot of brainstorming. You will have to apply your brains, your staff, your teams will have to apply their brains to figure out how best to leverage this insight into business. So these are three, quick three blocks of pathways and common implementations around whatever I have told you till now. There are clearly 3-4 kind of work which is happening today, and all these four are, I'm again talking about what is happening on India. Operations analytics, is largely on the domain of how your sales floor is working, how your store floor is working. If you have a factory, what kind of wastages, what kind of production lead times, what kind of delays are happening. Merchandising analytics is everything about your product, inventories, demands, forecast, margins. Traffic is, in a retail environment, there are ways and means today to find out how many people are coming into your store. There are camera solutions which can tell you how many men, how many women. The moment you have an idea of how many people entered your store in what age group, you could then evaluate what kind of conversion your staff is being able to do, what kind of efficiencies your staff or your HR or your training teams are doing. And then there is a fourth block. This is relatively new topic, generative AI. Everybody has heard about it. A large part of it is about, we all use it on ChatGPT, OpenAI kind of a system. But there are a lot of solutions, a lot of work which you today do manually can be done using generative AI in a programmed, computerized way. Almost all of these things, like I said, is real time, is easy to consume, and at your fingertips. On the operational analytics, this is One is an insights, because you have a business, you want to know how that business is being run, how is your daily sales, weekly, monthly, how is your inventory panning out, which store is on target, less behind target, ahead of target. So the insights engine is more like your operational statistics coming out, and then you have a mechanism to inform you about these developments. You know, if there are stores, how much target they have done, how much inventory is remaining, how many people visited a store, what kind of conversions they are doing. All this falls into an insights engine. Dynamic recommendation engine is once you identify a store, a customer who has entered your store, now what do you want to do around him? You know, is it his birthday today? Is it his anniversary today? Does he buy? Does he exchange some old product? What all can be done with him? Predict is a lot more on the forecasting side. Now there are a lot of systems which can actually forecast how much sales will happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow. You know, looking at the festival plan, looking at what happened in the past, you are able to predict what will happen operationally. So if you have to increase stores, you know, if you feel tomorrow will be a large sales day because for some reason you can put more staff into your store, you can call staff to run a store. So predict is largely how do you see tomorrow happening, while insights is how do you see yesterday in a way. On the merchandising side, like I said, I mean, inventory is a big cost item. Inventory is where money gets stuck. Bad inventory will affect your sales. Bad inventory will affect your, you know, your cash flows. Inventory also is a, you know, is a double-edged weapon, because if it is too less, it's a problem. If it is too high, it's a problem. Inventory needs to be just right. You can't err it. One kind of analytics which happens, which is inventory analytics, is you know, every day you look at, or a system looks at your inventory to pull out products which are at risk of stock out, risk of expiry. I don't think expiry is relevant in your industry, but in some industries product expires. Aging of an inventory, you know, if you have designs which are sitting out there, have not sold for 3 years, then they are not going to sell. If something has not sold for 3 years, it will not sell today. Replenishment engine are your distribution mechanisms. I mean, if you have 10 stores, if you have 100 dealers, how do you distribute from your inventory to them, depending on the stock of the store, depending on expected sales, depending on distance from the warehouse, time from the warehouse. But fully, this can be fully automated, that you don't need to manually figure out how many pieces to transfer to where. Planogram analytics, like I said, I mean, how do you design a retail store? How much space you are given to which category? How much margin you are making from each shelf, each counter, each gondola falls under, you know, planogram analytics. Traffic analyzer, you know, a lot of work has happened using camera viewing. You know, there are algorithms which are able to find your gender of the customer, age of the customer who's walking in, number of customers who are walking in. They are able to identify your store staff, separate them out of the numbers. So once you do a traffic analyzer, you are able to then evaluate the performance of a store. You know, similarly, store assist is another. You know, once you have this information, if we were talking about prediction, if you can predict what my next 4 hours, 6 hours in a store would be, you are in a position to give this information to your staff. So rather than a store manager waiting, hoping to do his target for the day, he clearly knows that what his next 6 hours would be, or what his next 4 hours would be. And if he has to do something to increase his targets, he can work on them. And then on the Gen AI, you know, I think last time we had presented entirely on. So one of the big thing on the brand side, we had done this execution on lab-grown diamonds also. I mean, there is a requirement sometimes for a bot which can answer information about your products. So we all know a capability of ChatGPT to converse with a customer. These are the systems which you can train an instance of ChatGPT to talk on your product or on your store or your own chain. I mean, if you have a store with 100-year-old history, you could have an instance which will talk about your store. The public ChatGPT today knows what it knows, but there is mechanism that you can teach it about your product, your designs, your prices, your inventory, and therefore you have a power bot which will say that, you know, this is the store, this is the design, what do you want, and it can have a conversation with the customer around you. Now again, these kind of sales assist, it's not these are not let's say imaginary things. We ourselves have done this kind of an execution in 2-3 places in India, wherein there is a bot which can talk about your product, your story. A feedback analyzer, you know, a lot of brands, a lot of people take customer feedback. Sometimes on the e-commerce side, you get a lot of feedback. If you're selling, you know, products on Amazon, Flipkart, you get a lot of product. A lot of that information can tell you what is missing on your product, whether customer likes the price, doesn't like the price, likes the design, doesn't like the design. And again, there are automated systems which can quickly analyze and give information on the customer feedback. So a lot of work has happened on these kind of systems after the advent of generative AI. This is just to, you know, we were talking about blocks of what can be done. This is an overall model which is being used to grow your customer. On one side, you are using data tech to influence, to acquire a customer. So your social media post, your conversations, your blog, comments, articles are all being written by an automated system to acquire customers. So you are using a lot of intelligence, targeting, you are using a positioning on this side to acquire the customer. And once you have acquired the customer, you are using tech to grow that customer. So once a customer visits you, then you figure out which is my customer. You do upselling, cross-selling, loyalty program, referrals, using all intelligent data. So this is just in one slide. It is, you know, it's an entire ecosystem of how in totality it can be run. This is obviously, you know, a lot of this presentation we have picked up from a very interesting research. I have given a QR code if somebody wants to look at the back data. Any questions, any particular queries, I am happy to handle and answer.
You come from Rajkot, manufacturing.
Yeah, we have into machinery.
So, this presentation is not only about retail. What we say is, if you have a problem and if you have a data, he can provide a solution. So, anything that comes to your mind,
Yes.
you are facing a problem, you can ask him, this is the right time. I think
Yeah.
Thank you. You have been a very patient audience. So, on behalf of GJC, I would like to felicitate Manishi.
Actually, a lot has happened in this field over the past. I think post-COVID, a lot has happened. Largely because the cost of doing these things have gone down. I mean, the computing power itself has come down. We are not seeing a lot of new, except for generative AI, which is totally new thing, but not a lot of new things have not happened. But the capability to do those same things the cost has gone down drastically. So the same thing which would have taken us 15 days to run today can be done in 5 minutes, and therefore there is so much which is being talked about the field. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.